Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Macro Perspective. And this is going to be microbite number 10 for everybody who is here today. Really excited about this one. Sometimes these are kind of difficult to boil down to, we'll say, a current event. I had one that I initially wanted to go with, and I kind of lost my train of thought with it. And it was, I think it was going to be really passionate about something that is critically happening in our environment here today. But I've opted to kind of switch gears because I had a very profound experience happen today. And this one is related to taxes, which everybody has to do as much as you don't want to. And I'm sure everybody's had this experience where you finally feel like you're ahead of the game with taxes, only to find out you're not ahead of the game. Happened to me as of this past weekend, where I learned I was going to be 2 weeks late in filing my S Corporation taxes. Fun fact, they are due the middle of March and they're not due the middle of April. So penalty was coming my way. Called my accountant and he was like, "Yeah, it's really not that terrible. It's like a couple $100, right?" Well, of course, I don't want to lose a couple $100. No, I don't think anybody wants to just like piss it away. At least if I piss away $200 at the roulette table with my wife, there was an argument that at least happened. That happened again recently with a date night. Um, don't try to apply roulette strategies when you don't have the big bucks to spend. Is basically my lesson there. But so my due diligence, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to be 3 weeks ahead, ended up being 2 weeks behind. Then it turned out to be that, by the way, you didn't fill out this particular form for the S corporation, and you are actually fine. When does the world ever work this way? Usually never. But it happened to me today, and I'm actually excited to share that there are moments in life where, shoot, I guess being a little bit of a procrastinator does pay off. Also, let this be a lesson to everybody else listening that you might check a box somewhere, but doesn't mean you filled out the form that corresponds to the box. Something that commonly happens with the government, apparently, the IRS. You check the box saying you're going to file a particular way. You forgot to fill out the five whatever form, and it ended up working to my benefit here for this year. Granted, next year I'm going to be ahead of the game, and I just thought this was a very funny story, right? Like procrastination can play off, but it usually doesn't, right? So while procrastinating in something was not my intent, I guess this is what happens when you try to be the most prepared for any particular situation that is going on in your life. So yeah, yeah. But this also goes to like the main part of this topic today of why financial health matters and why setting up businesses matter, right? Your entity that you establish when you are trying to, make and become an entrepreneurship or be an entrepreneur, um, really does matter. It can save you a boatload of money, mainly because the money that you're putting out into the universe to try to help other people grow, again, like something that you might be giving to other people for your business, whether it's marketing or supplies you're giving away or gifts you're giving away. These things ultimately are something that are viewed as not only a good deed, you feel good about it, but you get rewarded at the end of the year, and instead of potentially owing something, you might get a return. um, and setting up this entity was the biggest step for me this year, and so I want to explain that process to people, because I think it's important, and it shouldn't go unnoticed. If you're just out here collecting 1099s and you don't have an entity established, right? What are the benefits? Well, yeah, you have the ability to expense things off a little bit cleaner, and you have the ability to, again, when you're putting money out into other people's businesses from your business, then they're servicing you. That's an expense to you for your business purposes, and not solely an expense related to like your personal finances. The business expenses then kind of supersede that. And um, hell, I mean, one of the biggest one is your business paying for your own education, which was my biggest expense this year. I spent almost $10,000 in educational purposes over the course of the year. And, basically the government's rewarding me. They want me to continue to educate myself in different areas, in certifications. And while it did hurt and pain me to see that money out early on, I knew that I needed it. Um, so I'm always looking for ways to, again, have personal expenses and business expenses that can be valuable. And I don't think a lot of people learn about this stuff. Hell, I feel like I'm 10 years into this and I'm still learning about things. Again, not filling out the right forms and or being late. And even though it probably came up in conversation somewhere, about like, yes, it's going to be an S corp and not just an LLC. Um, that's that's where I've learned something. Every year with it, you just get a little bit better, and the rules do change, and that's where having another professional there really really matters. I mean, I having a human, right, having somebody walk you through it that like they're keeping up on the most current things. Just like a coach when it comes to fitness, if there is something new and innovative and exciting, they're likely going to know that's their profession. And just doing something on TurboTax or whatever else it is that's like a $0 filing, that it doesn't mean you're maybe maximizing the amount of things that are beneficial to you. And again, this conversation may not even apply to you. You may not have a business entity, or maybe you're thinking about starting one, right? So I'm speaking to all those people that have an idea for a side business, right? Well, make that side business a legal thing, right? You wanting to potentially just take money under the table for your hobby on the side is not as beneficial as keeping track of it, because again, all the stuff you now are paying for to facilitate that, which it doesn't seem like it's that much, um, almost offsets the cost of doing that thing where you're getting a lot of value out of it, and there's a value exchange happening because you're getting paid for the thing, right? So basically the point of today was to say, take a look at what you're doing. If you're yeah, if you are looking to create something that is going to, I mean, it may not change the world, but it has a niche, and you think there's a reason to start that thing, don't let the initial filings of it all scare you, right? Do it all. Consult with somebody that helps with business startups, right? Doesn't have to be a lawyer. It could be people that have started their own business. Get all the paperwork in order, and then make an account that helps your little small business idea grow. Um, it's it ends up being really rewarding. It ends up helping you learn things. And um, I know how I felt this weekend. I was dejected. I felt like I effed up. I how did I let this happen? Right. I thought I was ahead. Now I'm behind. Right. Like, oh, now, like, now here comes a penalty. Right. Only to then be like, I could have just not done everything, not sifted through, every item that was, deemed an appropriate use depending on whatever categories are allowed. And basically being diligent in financial health is the kind of the theme here. And it actually makes me really excited because I'm not a financial health expert. Um, hell, like I want to learn more about this because I want to pass this information on to people. Because yeah, finances do dictate your ability to do things in a healthy manner, whether it's buying quote organic or buying more whole foods or learning how to save appropriately. All those things really do ultimately help you maintain a fitness and nutrition health scape as well, right? Most people are stressed out about their family, feeding their family, and making an income, right? And if those things are something that you can start, figuring out a little bit better, the better off you're going to be. And I'm passionate about that. So passionate so that our producer was able to get a, financial expert on our show here in the coming weeks, and we're really excited about him. He has worked with a very big figure. I'm not going to disclose that name quite yet. We'll let him do that. And he is going to speak on kind of the law of attraction and how finances and a financial coach um, is something that is really useful for helping people understand this this idea and concept of money as it so exists in the 21st century. And I got as this is all happening with me, I was thinking about like, did I attract something that would be positive here? Um, and come to find out, I did. I went into a meeting thinking one outcome was going to happen, and then everything completely changed. And again, sitting down, doing the work, trying to attract the thing you want, right? Doing things again, kind of by the book, will allow you to be rewarded, right? You have to sit there and comb through again line by line. Took me a few days, but I got it done, and it literally changed my mood today, and it's super exciting. So when we get this person on to speak on the law of attraction and speak on financial fluency, literacy, whatever you want to call it, where I think you're going to get a ton of value out of it because hell, I feel like I'm constantly learning things in here, makes my life feel a particular way. And of course, every head of household, might feel this way, or every team, working towards a goal, might feel a certain way. So hopefully, you guys will get a lot out of this, and you will also get a lot out of that podcast that will drop in a few weeks.